आइए, प्लीज कम, बैठिए.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
So we are talking to Mayank, right? So are you staying in Delhi or you've come from some other district?
Ma'am, I'm currently living in Varanasi with my parents. So,
Okay. How long does it take to come to Delhi?
ma'am, it's an overnight journey.
Overnight journey. Or you come by flight?
Yeah, but the airport is a little far
Difficult.
away.
Okay. So your parents are also doing jobs,
Yes.
and your father belongs to Uttarakhand,
Yeah.
right? And he lives in Varanasi.
Yes.
That's very nice. So tell me, you are a cricket player also.
Yes,
Apart
ma'am.
from the other thing, you
Yes,
do
ma'am.
some cricket hobby, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So who won yesterday in the IPL?
Yesterday?
Did you see?
No, ma'am.
Oh, you were on a train.
Yeah, I was busy preparing for the interview.
Oh,
so
you
I
were very
couldn't
keen.
catch
Okay,
up.
that's all right. So you were coordinator of a Hindi literary society, and you were a leader in a cultural festival.
Yes.
So what was this festival about?
Ma'am, I studied at IIT Kanpur.
Okay.
So in our college, there's a fierce inter-hostel rivalry.
Oh,
So every year we used to have a cultural festival in which people used to participate in big numbers, and
Right.
so I had to manage them. And
you managed or you participated also?
ma'am, I participated 1 year, and the next year I managed.
You managed.
Yes,
So you are a good manager.
yes.
So
ma'am, I
it
would say.
appears. So tell me, what is the squad business? Quadrilateral something? Have you heard about quad?
Yes, ma'am.
No. So what is it about?
Ma'am, it's a security grouping
Yeah.
between India, Australia, and I'm sorry.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan and United
USA,
States.
right.
Yeah. Which
So you think they are doing good work?
ma'am, as of now, its main agenda is to counter China in the Indo-Pacific region and to
Right.
ensure a free and fair Indo-Pacific region. So as of now, they are doing good, but the future is uncertain, especially with the arrival of AUKUS.
No, this USA, in my assessment, has always been interested in Pacific Ocean.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he's close to it, no? The USA is close to the
Yes.
Pacific, and they have these countries, some powers to come,
Yes, ma'am.
superpowers, so
Yes,
they are interested.
Yes.
They'll keep it up.
Yes.
So tell me about Human Development Index.
Yes, ma'am.
You've heard about it?
Yes, ma'am.
What are these indexes?
Ma'am, it's a composite index, and it measures three factors basically. First is the one is the education, then
Okay.
other is the mortality, which links to health.
Health.
Yeah, and the third one is that of income.
Okay. So tell me, do we have food security in India?
Yes, ma'am. As of now, we do have food security in the.
So do you assess that every family, whoever, beggar or no beggar, rich man, everyone getting food twice a day?
As a country, we have food security, but the distribution, it is due to the inequality in our society and the inadequacy of certain
So
governments.
there are problems,
Yeah, there are.
right? And okay, tell me about female labor, right?
Yes,
The women work in the field everywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
So they get low wages.
Yes, ma'am.
So a man goes there, he'll get 200 rupees, woman will get 150, suppose.
Yes, ma'am.
Then why do you think this distinction?
Ma'am, India has traditionally been a patriarchal society, and it has been the mindset of people that the male member of the family is the primary wage earner. So they often treat women as a subsidiary worker, that she's not
Capable.
contributing to the family. So that bias is there.
So do you think that it has changed, this patriarchy sentiment? Has it changed?
Ma'am, I would say that it has mixed reviews, because with the advent of education in some certain pockets, it has changed, while the labor force participation of women has also decreased over the time. So I would say the patriarchy is deeply entrenched in our society.
Still it is there.
Yeah.
I know, suppose there's a contractor doing road work, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now there is a rule, or you can call it a law, that he will provide, these little creches Creche, creche where a baby can
Creche,
be
yes,
kept,
ma'am, yeah,
right?
baby care.
So he should keep a creche so that suppose there's a small child, he doesn't hang in the tree outside.
Yes, ma'am.
They put a little sari and they put the child under the hot sun.
Yes.
That's not fair. So what can we do against the contract?
Ma'am, I would say that while awarding the contract, the terms and conditions should be strict, and we should transfer the money only
When
after
he does
checking.
it.
Yeah.
We
After
should penalize. See, if he keeps women labor, which is fairly capable,
Yes, ma'am.
he should provide the facility, drinking water,
Yes, ma'am.
proper little shed over the head, otherwise the child will die.
Yes.
Can.
Yes, ma'am. But penalization can also be counterproductive because there are
Then he won't work.
certain government officials who would harass contractors,
Okay.
and it can get a bureaucratic mess. So I would say positive reinforcement should be the key.
Explain it to him, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain to the contractor.
Explain it to
right?
them and just give it step by step and then only award the contracts.
Right, sir. Please.
There are about 7 aspirational districts in UP
Yes, sir.
and about 6-7 smart cities. Have you been to any one of them?
Sir, I live in Varanasi, which is a smart city. Yeah. So
what has changed after this smart city mission was launched 5-6 years back?
sir, I would say definitely the infrastructure has undergone a radical change, especially the condition of roads and the sewer system and the electricity. It used to be horrible beforehand. Now there is regular electricity to almost all parts of the district.
That integrated control center has been established in Varanasi.
I would say so. It has been established, but I'm not aware of its working.
And what about aspirational district?
Aspirational districts, sir, I haven't been to one.
Have you heard of this? What is the objective?
Yeah, aspirational district, it aims to identify backward areas of the country and rank them among themselves, not treat them at par with other districts, so that specific policies could be centered around them and they could be motivated to join the other districts. And
What is the Government of India's direction with regard to aspirational districts and CSR funds?
yes, sir.
Is there any direction from Government of India to use CSR funds for aspirational districts? Any idea?
Sir, I would say so. The nodal officer, which is a level IAS officer, he helps with the CSR funds to be allocated to aspirational districts. I'm not aware of any specific.
Now, you are as DM, how would you engage with NGOs and civil society in your district
Yeah.
in governance and developmental works?
Yeah. Sir, NGOs have this benefit that they can source people locally, and they oftentimes with the government official there is a fear of having negative consequences.
Yeah.
So to get a ground level idea of the situation, NGOs can be used. But I would say with the emerging scenarios, this advice of NGOs should be taken with a pinch of salt because they often have vested interest. So it should be a calculative move, and also in the dispersal of welfare schemes in the area to identify the target audience and how to benefit them in a better way, we could use and channelize the funds properly.
Okay. So India has made an impressive economic recovery post-COVID.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Sir, it is impressive, but I would still say that we have a long way to go.
No problem. Tell me, what has been the Government of India's role in this recovery as a facilitator?
Sir, the government of India, especially with regards to the sectors which were already facing challenges, example, power sector. So they gave special packages, and the government of India is trying to use COVID as an opportunity rather than as a disaster. So they are trying to build a manufacturing base in India because companies who want to shift away from China, they could establish here. And I would say government of India is seeing it as a 1991 reform level kind of a situation. Yeah. So they are trying to build infrastructure, and they are saying the global order will establish with India.
My last question, Mayank. About 3 weeks back, the IPCC report, are you aware?
Sir, the recent one?
Recent one.
Sir, I have
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
yeah. I'm not aware what special report they came up with, but I'm aware the general work done by IPCC.
Thank you.
Mayank, and when you were responding to ma'am's question, your cultural activities,
Yes.
You said there's a fierce cultural rivalry.
Yes.
Is it rivalry or competition?
Sir, I would say because the students are a bit immature, so it goes to the extent of rivalry. But as we grow up and as we graduate, we see it as a healthy competitive spirit, which inculcates.
I asked you this question not just to get this clarification, because this is obvious.
Yeah.
Are we as a country
Yes.
getting more used to the word rivalry than anything else?
Well, sir, we as a country, I would see we haven't found our place in the global world order, and there has been fierce attempts by people on the high table to prevent us from, getting that spot. So, I would say that being aggressive in trying to find a place for oneself, especially when you think you deserve better.
So internally, forget the
Internally.
global high table.
Yeah.
Your own high table. What is it doing?
I would say, sir, there has been certain level of polarization which is happening inside the country, and especially with the advent of social media, it has, tried expose the cracks to a wider extent. So,
That's the point. Is social media creating a bonding or creating rivalry?
sir, I think it's an ideological based bonding, but there is very low tolerance for people of other ideologies, which hasn't been the history of India.
Okay, when you get in, I wish you all the best, and I hope you get in and you start serving. Have you heard about the SDG goals? Which is the SDG goal you would be most focused on when you are in your subdivision or your district?
Sir, I would say the extreme poverty in the country, because it's very unfortunate that a large population of the country still lives below the poverty line, despite having, achieved so many things, and we are positioning ourselves as a global leader.
I think this has been a problem since 1947.
Yes,
Where are we?
sir, I would say it's a daunting task, and
Okay, let me put it differently.
yes, sir.
Has the executive of the country messed it up that we have not yet been able to find the answer to that? What's your reaction to this?
Sir, I would say the executive of the country has a tough job, because no other country boasts of such diversity, and often it hinders the administration to some extent. Having said that, the executive has had unilateral powers, so it wouldn't be fair to say that they haven't messed up, but I think we can do better.
You have been to IIT.
Yes,
You are one of the fortunate ones and the bright ones of the country.
thank you, sir.
I will not ask the question why you want to shift to civil services. But what I'll ask is, what is that skill set which you bring from IIT which you think is going to be your value add in civil services?
Sir, the one skill set which I think I could bring is that I'm a fast learner, I'm a fast adapter. And in this present day world, unlearning is as important as learning. So, in the services, whichever domain I may be posted in, I have this capability to learn quickly and adapt to situations. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, sir.
So, Mayank, there have been many incidents of, stone pelting on processions.
Yes.
In the last 1 month,
Yes.
and Uttar Pradesh has come out with some directive
Mhm.
to the state police
Yes.
about the SOP regarding processions.
Yes.
So, have you got any idea about it?
Sir, I think they have come up with zero tolerance policy, and they have warned in advance that those who would be involved in stone pelting would be treated with a firm hand, and their properties would either be demolished or confiscated. So it's more of a
I think you are referring to something else, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So this you mentioned about demolishing policy.
yes,
So if you were the DM of a district,
yes, sir.
right, would you resort to the same action that was done in case of Khargone in Madhya Pradesh and in Delhi in Jahangirpuri
Yes,
and in UP,
yes,
the bulldozer culture?
yes,
Immediately after the clashes happened,
yeah,
second day or that day itself,
yes, sir.
what would you do?
Sir, I would say that due process of law was certainly compromised to an extent, and there could have been a more nuanced approach to this, and it certainly isn't going to help the cause if we try to paint everyone with the same brush and marginalize certain sections of the society as a whole.
No, you're giving very general point.
Yes,
Suppose due process of law, whatever you are referring,
yes, sir.
giving notice and everything is right.
Everything is right.
Demolishing is not unlawful. Even in the Supreme Court, government has given this version that notices were given.
Mhm.
My point is, today the communal clashes happen,
Mhm.
and the second day you are removing your encroachments. How far would you agree to the same model?
Sir, I would say because it doesn't address the problem, it exacerbates it, as in it tries to show a culture of vendetta. So, especially in the areas where the communal tension is already there, it adds fuel to the communal tension. As a district magistrate, my role would be to reduce the communal tension. So, in that manner, I would say it's administratively.
All right. Now tell me, Mayank, you're an electrical engineer.
Yes, sir.
Now, after the power sector reforms, now the distribution companies, the discoms are there.
Yes, sir.
Now, I believe they are not doing good.
No, sir. They have been under huge debt.
Yes. So one of the reasons is that there are losses in transmission, line
Yes, sir.
loss.
Yes, sir.
You be as an electrical engineer
Yes, sir.
and you want to set discom in your state. Suppose you are MD of the discom
Yes, sir.
in UP.
Yes, sir.
What would you do in order to prevent line loss?
Sir, to prevent line losses, I would say transformers of adequate frequency should be established. Also, we should try to move to a complete system of high voltage DC, which would minimize line losses over longer stretches of distance. Also, adding capacitors would certainly give us room to maneuver, and it would help with the lines.
If I'm not wrong, UP in certain areas, there are power thefts also, even
Yes,
now.
yes, sir.
How would you prevent that?
Sir, one of the ways would be to establish high voltage lines. Another would be to make the lines underground, and we should also see that electric meters are installed everywhere and a due process is followed.
Okay. Now, you're from IIT Kanpur.
Yes, sir.
You see, IIT Kanpur has been repeatedly coming out with, the prediction models for COVID.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think it's unethical because, telling the country that from June you will have a COVID fourth wave,
Yes, sir.
and lasting for 4 months,
Yes,
based on certain models and some graphs.
yes, sir.
Even the scientists and the doctors have resented. They said, why are they coming out with such prediction? You think it is ethical?
Sir, I wouldn't say it's unethical because IIT Kanpur, as a leading research institute of the country, it's their duty to help the nation in the event of a calamity and use their technical prowess to foretell the future. And the professor who has been at the spearhead, Dr. Maninder Agrawal, he has often predicted them to a quite around the ballpark, and it has helped the government in formulating policies. And I would say, as much research that could be further done, we should not fear the future, rather we should adapt to it. That would be my
Okay, my last question. India has told the world that if WTO allows,
Yes.
we are ready to feed the world.
Yes, sir.
What is this message about? What does it convey?
Sir, I would say that it conveys two things. First, we are coming from a strength of power. We are saying that in the event of a calamity, we could spearhead projects that could help the world. So we are often India has been cited as someone who would receive help from the nation. So we are trying to change that impression of our country, and we are trying to convey that we are a food secure country, and also we are trying to maneuver the rules of WTO in our favor, which have been traditionally been unfavorable to our country.
Thank you, Mayank.
Yes.
Many people say that if you introduce electric vehicles,
Yes.
then actually the pollution will increase because of present known ways of disposing the batteries,
Yes.
which are associated with electric vehicles, and some greenhouse gas effect is
Yes.
there. What do you have to say on that?
Sir, another reason of pollution increasing is because a major portion of electricity that is supplied to our country is from thermal power plants, and which are a greenhouse gas emitter. In the case of when you come to the batteries, so batteries, India could move towards different batteries, and there has been work to move from lithium ion batteries to maybe with fuel cells and stuff like that. But it's still, I would say, a demon which is comparatively a less evil demon considering to the current circumstances, and we could go, we are moving towards a better place.
What will happen to the batteries which will get condemned after say 7 years or 8 years, whatever is the time frame given?
Yes. Sir,
How we propose to dispose them of?
sir, I'm not aware.
Okay, we go to another area. You see, there are some people whom we group as Rohingyas,
Yes.
and many people say that Rohingyas are making mischief in India. Their presence also is undesirable. My suggestion is, let us take up with the government of Myanmar, tell them very strictly that you take back these Rohingyas, they belong to you. What's your say on that?
I would say, sir, that it would be unethical if we forcefully send them to a place where they have been known to be persecuted. So it is against the basic human rights. Having said that, we can begin a dialogue mechanism with the Myanmar government, and if they provide us an assurance that they would be rehabilitated peacefully, because refugees, there's a saying that no one boards a boat unless water is safer than land in case of refugees. So if they are provided with an assurance that they would be safe back in Myanmar, I would definitely feel the refugees would also want to go back to their native.
Two issues come up. Whether diplomatically it will be okay if we take up with government of Myanmar. This is one.
Yes, sir.
And secondly,
Yes, sir.
that whether government of Myanmar will consider Rohingyas as their own at all.
Sir, regarding the first issue, there has been instance in the past where Supreme Court directed certain Rohingyans to be sent back to Myanmar. So compared to that, if we take a diplomatic channel, I think it would be more nuanced, more sophisticated, and it would help in tackling it in a better way. And by second problem, if a government of Myanmar would treat them as their own, I would say that there has been a regime change in Myanmar, and if Indian government could talk to the Myanmarese government,
Is it for the better or for the worse, the regime change?
sir, in the context of democracy, it is definitely for the worse. But I would say that certain stability might be provided by the regime, and we could try engaging with them and see where it goes.
And have they any stand on the Rohingya issue, Myanmar government?
The current Myanmar government, the army, I think they don't consider them as their own because the army was involved in expelling them. So, yes, they have, but I don't think they would accept that on a global platform.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mayank.